It is my pleasure now to welcome the CEO of the Dunamis Sounds Music Group. And you would have seen him already being a busy bee, moving about behind the scenes, going behind the mic and behind the scenes, behind the mic, behind the scenes. And so I'm going to call Mr. Keith Rolle to come and bring opening remarks. He is the CEO, as I mentioned, of the DSMG Group. And he will also be sharing as our first presenter on building your brand. Let's please warmly welcome Keith Rolle.
All right, friends, thank you for coming out tonight. It's the 15th year of Dunamis Sounds Music Group, founded by the late Pastor LeVard Manifest Parks, shepherded with his wife, Riddell Parks, and in many ways inspired and changed by their firstborn son, Johannes Parks. I'm a fan. First and foremost, when it comes to music, anybody who knows me and sees me in action knows that I'm first and foremost just a fan of the music. And honestly, I didn't really like our music at first. I didn't like music from the Bahamas. I grew up listening to the US stuff, and I thought that was the cool music. And I was wrong. And LeVard was one of the artists that helped me to understand just how wrong I was in not being able to appreciate our own, and to appreciate the power of being able to see someone several times a week or several times a month with the power to touch you and influence you and impact you positively. That is the true power of the music of Dunamis Sounds. Dunamis is, of course, Greek for explosion. It later became synonymous with the word dynamite. And that so aptly describes what LeVard envisioned and set out to do with his music. Explosive, dynamite, sound. And that sound is still echoing around the planet today, online, on radio, and in our hearts. So I want to thank you, each and every one of you, once again for taking the time to come out and to reminisce, to learn, and to recognize the impact of Pastor LeVard Manifest Parks, Del Parks, Joanna Parks, and their family as well. So moving into my topic for this evening, it deals with branding. That's a word you hear often. People talk about this is the brand and that is the brand, and Dunamis Sounds was a brand. But in the musical landscape, from a distance, it's difficult to really tell the difference between this artist or this label or that label. It's synonymous with going to the food store. You know you want cereal. You may not know exactly what kind of cereal you want. Sometimes you know exactly what you want. Let's say you want cornflakes. Great. But how many brands of cornflakes are there? You hear what I did just now? Brands of cornflakes. Music is the same way. In fact, I'm going to take it a step beyond music and say that each and every person inside this room is a brand. Each of you is unique. You are the combination of your father's side of the family and your mother's side of the family, going back almost to the beginning of time. This year may be a little crooked compared to this year, because this year came from someone that lived 1,000 or more years before this person. I mean, we truly are unique as human beings. And in many ways like in the old movies, the cowboys and stuff, where they would have all the sheep and the cattle, and they would hold it down and take that hot iron and stamp it. That's what a brand is. That's what a brand does to what may appear to be a generic product. It places something upon something that helps everybody to understand and recognize the creator or the owner of that product. So 5 people may do hip hop, but there was only one manifest. 50 people may do hip hop, but there's only one manifest. Anywhere in the world you go, and I always used to tell LeVar this, LeVar, you could go in America, and I'd say, babe, there's no one like you, because they're not from the Bahamas. It's as simple, a brand, it's just like that physical brand on cattle, it's a spiritual brand. Now, the power of that is, you could take that same concept, that same energy, and apply it to something else. You can apply it to something new. Tomorrow you may decide, you know what, I'm going to start a line of watches. Well, guess what? That's an extension of your brand. If you take the time to infuse it with what makes you, you. How do you do that? How do you even identify what makes you different and unique from each and everybody else? From the beginning of time, people have asked that question. Who am I? I believe personally it's impossible to answer that question without knowing your creator, without knowing your purpose, without knowing and understanding why you are here. But even if you know your God, even if you worship the Lord, if you do not look at yourself as unique, if you do not look at yourself as a brand, you'll spend half your career trying to sound like Donnie McClurkin, or trying to sound like Tupac, or trying to sound like Jay-Z. You could be in the Lord and you could still miss the complete essence and point of who you are. And you are unique. You are special. You are a brand. So, since we talk about some basics about what a brand is in relation to who you are, what do you want to do? What goals do you hope to achieve? What is your mission statement? A good friend of mine, Sonia Brown, is here, and Sonia could tell you, years ago, when I wanted to do KLR and all that, I had like 5 or 6 different slogans and catchphrases, because sometimes the slogan makes the product, but the reason why that is because it's the essence of why they're here, and it may have taken me about a year, or maybe I think it was about a year. Sonia would be quick to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that I got it down to like 6 or 7 words, you know what I mean? And Sonia was like, man, you did it less words than me. But when it came to doing Sounds Music Group, LeVar's mission was simple. Music for the people. Not music against the people, or music to get the people to do this or to do that. No, music for the people, which really meant that he understood innately what people needed. And he's applying the proper product, the proper tool, the proper vessel to help them achieve and reach what they're destined to be, what they're supposed to be. So, mission statement. It may take you 3 weeks, it may take you 3 months, it may take you longer. Sometimes you think what you're creating is one thing, and then something else comes and it evolves into something else. That's just a part of it, that's a part of life. But that mission statement is critical to you understanding what your brand is and the purpose of your brand. The third and arguably the most important thing is, who is my audience? We like to say, well, the world is my audience. Everybody is my audience. But the reality is, that may not be so. In some cases, it doesn't matter how famous you are, really. It doesn't matter how good you are at a thing. It doesn't matter how many millions and billions of people know you and like you. I bet you there's millions who don't like you. I bet you there's maybe even billions that don't like you. I used to tell people, everyone talk about, hey, I want to dominate America, I want to go into the U.S. and so on and so forth. I say, well, I like to say to them, what percentage of the U.S. population do you want? How many do you want? It's like America has over 150 million people. How many of them do you want? And they don't know. I say, well, how about 2%? They go, oh, that's too small, Keith, that's too small. I got faith, that's too small. I said, okay, do the math. Pull out the calculator, check it out. What is 2% of 150 million? And they look at that, and they look at me, Keith, that's like 3 million. So you're telling me 3 million people that buy something from you for $10. That's too small. What's the lesson in that? Do not be, I'm going to say it a different way. Do not despise small beginnings. Someone will look at 2%, 150 million, and be like, that's a waste of my time. Do not despise small beginnings. Because your brand begins inside of you. It's a part of you. It's a part of who you are as a person. It's a part of what makes you special. It's a part of what makes you unique. Now, once you acknowledge that, and you create your mission statement, that ties in with the purpose of your brand, then you can start talking about products. You start talking about, okay, well, music, or theater, or film, or, you know what, just being an employee sometimes could be a part of your brand, you know. Because I was an employee for a long time. I still am an employee. But the interesting thing is, everywhere I went, people started naming me after that business. They said, oh, that's the logos guy. Or, you know, that's the bookstore guy. Or, that's Mr. Radio over there. You know, and Arthea Nixon was the one who started this. When I started doing management and so on and so forth, she started telling people, hey, look, son, you need the KLR touch. That's right. That old KLR thing, that was Arthea recognizing what was inside of me and helping me to recognize what was in me. And I'll always be grateful to her for that, you know. It's that simple, though. Recognize what's inside you. Mission statement, purpose, what products you're going to infuse yourself into. And then from that point onward, don't despise small beginnings, because that is the seed of your success. So with all of those things in place, where's the future of your brand? It could be anything you want to be. But the question is, how long will your brand last? Coca-Cola has been around longer than the creator of Coca-Cola. And many other businesses are the same way. Their creators are gone, but their brands remain. What's special about it? Well, they found a way to touch people. They found a way to make people recognize what was inside them. They gave people experiences that lived long beyond the creators of those things themselves. So all of that is within each and every one of you, and I encourage each of you to just shift your perspective a little bit, because there's so much more to you than you may recognize at this point in time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Still